Forensic Lab is a center of the Institute of Applied Linguistics at Universitat Pompeu Fabra, which undertakes tasks, teaching and research tasks applied to forensic expert witness work. Forensic linguistics studies the interface between language and the law with three main domains: language of the law, language of the court, and language as evidence. In this evidential context, we take into account the fact that each individual speaks or writes a first language and a dialect, that each individual belongs to a speech community, and that each individual has a unique, idiosyncratic and distinctive idiolectal style. With these linguistic parameters, we are able to tell a court what a text says and who its author is. This is, for example, what we do or what we conduct in our project called Forensic Idiolectrometry, which analyzes three languages, Catalan, Spanish and English, and three linguistic modules: phonological, morphosyntactic and pragmatic and discursive. So that our results are more reliable and conclusive, we use new technologies such as computer science tools and statistical methods. Our findings, for example, include the fact that there is more variation when we analyze between speakers and writers than when we analyze the dialectal style of a single individual. Our everyday task involves forensic comparative analysis of the human voice applied to identification context, and forensic comparative studies of written text applied to authorship attribution and plagiarism detection.
The most frequent cases in forensic text comparison are plagiarism detection and authorship attribution. In a case of plagiarism detection, we have to conclude whether two texts, for example two novels, has been produced independently or not. In a case of authorship attribution, we have one text, for example an anonymous text, and we may have a group of suspects, and we have to determine which of those suspects have written the text. Or we may only have one suspect and the anonymous text, and we have to establish whether this person has produced the anonymous text or not. The methodology that we undertake in order to offer reliable and robust results is based in three main approaches. A qualitative analysis that involves the establishment of authorship marks, for instance repetitions, errors, particular expressions, etc. And then we carry out a corpus linguistic analysis in order to establish the rarity or the expectancy of these markers in comparison with the occurrences in a reference corpora. And finally, we carry out a statistical analysis which also involves computational text processing.
The most frequent case about forensic voice comparison that we may have at our laboratory would imply the comparison of two recordings. On the one hand, we have the unknown recording, which corresponds to the voice of the person who has committed a crime, like for example a threatening call. And on the other hand, we have the known voice, the known recording, which corresponds to the suspect of committing that crime. So we are asked to compare the two voices and determine whether they belong to the same person or not. So the methodology that we follow to compare these two voices is a combination of two different methods. On the one hand, we have the auditory method, which would imply our listening to the recordings and identify the main dialectal and idiolectal characteristics of the speakers. And on the other hand, we have the acoustic method, which would imply the use of speech analysis data, spectrograms, statistical programs, and then we analyze the acoustic properties of characteristics such as the fundamental frequency, which is the tone of our voice, which depends on the physiology of our vocal folds, and also the quality of the vowels and the consonants that the speakers produce.